It's 1982. I'm 7 years old. I'm driving around in a station wagon complete with the wood panel on the side. My father is driving us around the Seattle-Tacoma area through various neighborhoods. We stop every so often when we see a phone booth. We get out of our car in the late winter, which in the Puget Sound means these heavy, dark mists. We get out of our car, we get into the phone booth, and we look for a phone book, if you remember those. And we look for our name. We don't find the name that we're looking for. We get back in the station wagon. We drive far enough into another neighborhood where we find another phone booth, which will have a different phone book with a different neighborhood. And we look for our name again. Around the fifth or sixth phone booth, in this kind of Raymond Carver saturated scene, we find the name that we're looking for. And after we consult with the local gas station attendant for some rough directions, about 10 minutes later, we're standing in front of an apartment building. This is before Bill Gates covered the entire area with software money. This is the working class Seattle-Tacoma area, when Tacoma was still quite frightening at times. And it's this concrete apartment building. We go up to the second floor. We knock on the door. The door opens, and there's shag carpet. There's a mattress on the floor. There's a cigarette in an ashtray, still smoldering. Paperback mysteries around the mattress. Black and white television, very softly playing the news. And in the door is this taller, lither version of my father. And my father says to his brother, "Mom wants you to come home for Christmas." You can see my uncle's eyes registering shock as he looks to my 7-year-old self and to my father, going back and forth. He didn't expect to be found at this particular moment. But he agrees. It's not a Hallmark movie. There's no tear-stained reunions. It's not that kind of story. Sometime in the next few months, he kind of melts back into my grandparents' house and takes up residence in the back and becomes this presence that smokes cigarettes and listens to the radio and comes out for meals very occasionally. That's the opening. Around that same time, later that year most likely, I talked my father into teaching me to play chess. And so he brought home a $4 or $5 chess set, plastic with the cardboard, if you can picture that. And he taught me how to move the pieces, taught me how to castle, showed me how to checkmate, beat me a few times. Lessons progressed through the summer. And he said at some point, "You really should ask Uncle Bill to play with you at some point. He knows what he's doing, far more than I do. He's read the books. He's played in a few tournaments. I've never been able to beat him." So next time I'm in Tacoma, I asked my uncle to play, and he, to my surprise, kind of materializes out of the background, still smelling of cigarettes and mist, and sits down at the polished oak dining room table of my grandparents, my cheap little chess set, and he proceeds to completely dismantle me in ways that I found thrilling, sublime. I don't know what it says about my 7, 8-year-old self, but I really enjoyed just getting my clock cleaned. I thought it was just fascinating the way that I didn't know where this was coming from, and then suddenly I was dead. And he would only ever say 3 or 4 words at a time. He would point out what I could and couldn't do. He might make a minor suggestion here and there. When I'd had enough, he kind of melted back into the background. And when I wanted to play again, somehow he was there to play again. A few years later, around the time I was about to start high school, he disappeared again. And this time he didn't just disappear into another neighborhood. No one knew where he was for a week until my grandmother got a phone call from Alaska, and he had simply moved to Alaska one night. And I don't know why he hardly spoke to any of us. I don't know why he would sort of appear and disappear. My father and I both have our speculations, but honestly, it's the complete lack of evidence. Your guess, friends and strangers, are as good as mine. 30 years later, at least, I am now living on the west coast of Newfoundland, which is about as far from the center of anything as you can possibly get. And my life has become snow and ice and washing cloth diapers for my new baby son and teaching Raymond Carver to 18-year-olds in the States online in the middle of the night when I'm not taking care of my baby son. And it includes occasionally playing chess on these online servers. And for those of you who don't play, you can sign up for this kind of chess Facebook thing, and you can have a game at any time of the day or night. And I'm playing Mexican high school students, I'm playing Parisian housewives, and I'm playing my father quite a bit. And I've improved a lot since I was 7 or 8 years old. I can beat my dad 1 time out of 3, 1 times out of 2 sometimes. If I'm rested, I win. If I'm not rested, I lose, that kind of thing. Somewhere in the middle of all that, and I really don't remember how it happened, my uncle just kind of reappears in my life, living in Alaska and playing chess on these online servers with me. And a lot has changed in my life, but this one thing has not changed, and that is that he still completely destroys me every single time. He still completely destroys my father. It's like playing the Terminator, right? You remember the Terminator. The Terminator does not move actually particularly quickly. He does not show emotion. He does not get hurried. He simply destroys. You try to shoot him. You try to blow him up. He simply gets back up and keeps coming for you while this heavy metal music keeps thudding in the background, and he keeps proceeding towards his goal of completely and utterly annihilating you. And we still find this utterly fascinating. And my father and I are interested in where he lives. We are interested in what he does. But what we really want to know is why he still keeps playing chess with us. Why bother with such easy marks? And we really can't figure it out. Around the same time, I'm trying to write some fiction. I'm trying to write chess stories, oddly enough, as geeky as that sounds. I'll never be a great player, but there's something around the drama of these players that I find fascinating, and I was trying to write something about it, and I've got a subject. I've got this weird guy, this is my uncle, and I could just talk to him about it. And on this little chat function on these chess servers, I start to have a conversation with him about why he likes to play the game. And I get 200-300 words from him, which is my uncle being extremely chatty. And he tells me it's the puzzle of it. And I get the distinct impression that winning and losing does not matter to him one little bit. It's this endless series of new puzzles that chess just throws up at you like a kaleidoscope of puzzle solving. And it's just making that next move, making the next best move you can against the situation that you've been given by your opponent. And this makes some sense to me. 10 years after that, and I'm in a plateau apartment in Montreal here, waiting out the pandemic, and for reasons I'm sure you can understand, I'm playing a lot of chess again on these online chess servers, and I'm playing my uncle again. It's very odd how the moment apparates just like he did, where I look down at the board, the screen, and I make a move, and I realize that I have not left my uncle a lot of options. And he makes a move that forces me to sort of repeat the thing that I just did. And then he repeats the thing that I did. And then I do this thing that I've only sort of done as a joke to him before. I offer a draw. And this time he takes it. And I'm elated. I've just beat this 75-year-old man. Or I haven't beaten him. I've tied him. I've pushed him to a draw. This is fantastic. This is the highlight of my chess playing career. This is the best thing that's happened to me during the pandemic. If I'm really honest with you, this might be one of the highlights of my entire life. I play him again, and this time things get even weirder. I actually beat him. I bring him to checkmate. Now I'm getting worried. Something's off. And so I'm on the phone with my father not too long after this, and I was like, is he okay? Is he going senile? Is something wrong? And my father just chuckles softly, grimly, both, and says, no, there's nothing wrong with him. I still can't beat him. I haven't won in hundreds of games. It's been a decade since I even came close. He's fine. I still don't know why he plays me. One more time. I had figured out from him how to beat him. I was in this sort of Zen-like state, I think, in the middle of the pandemic, where you just sort of let go of all teleology and you make the next best move. And from him, I learned this thing, how to beat him. Apparently they were on the phone a bit later, my father and my uncle, and my uncle was extremely pleased to have been beaten and to have been pushed to a draw. He liked losing at the age of 75 as much as I liked losing at the age of 7. He found it amusing and pleasing. A few weeks ago, and I do mean it was just a few weeks ago, I was playing another game with my uncle. He still beats me most of the time, but if I make the tiniest mistakes, he just unravels me very quickly. But I can push him, and he shows me a lot more respect than he used to. And I'm playing around the 12th move, he suddenly disappears again. And I win on time. The chess clock goes off and I win, and these sudden wins on a chess clock worry me, especially in the pandemic and with my father and my uncle getting up there. So again, I'm texting my father, is everything okay? And my father says, well, this time actually, yeah, he's having some health problems and he needs a break. He'll play chess again with you soon. And he's making this promise to me that makes me feel like I'm 7 years old all over again. Your uncle will play again with you soon. It'll be okay. And there's this part of me that knows that my father is lying to me about this. Maybe he will play with me again, maybe he won't. But the end is coming. The game is coming to an end. Thank you.